Hi, I'm Tony Joe from Remax Camosun here in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia. Thanks for tuning in to this chapter of our short educational segments, hopefully that will help you in your purchase or sale of real estate here in Victoria. This segment here, we're going to be talking about selling a tenant-occupied property. So this would be a great little segment if you are either a landlord with an investment property and you're thinking about selling it, or if you are a tenant and you're curious about your rights as a tenant when it comes to showings and access to your home. We, of course, in the past 20 years have handled hundreds of clients of ours who are investors who own tenant-occupied properties. And I have to tell you, the relationship between the realtor and the tenant is crucially important. We realtors understand that having a cooperative, amenable, and happy tenant is as valuable as anything else, because we know that tenants can make it very difficult for realtors to show. If we can't show the house, obviously the property can't be sold. And sometimes if a seller is trying to capitalize on a market that is fast moving or a strong marketplace, it could literally cost a seller thousands of dollars just by not taking the right corrective steps to make sure that the relationship is there between the agent, the seller, and the tenant. The first thing I want to tell you about is there is a provincial ministry that takes care of these things. It is the Residential Tenancy Branch. And you can find great forms and documents like this one here, which is the Landlord and Tenant Fact Sheet on the government website. And you can find that at rto.bc.ca, rto.bc.ca, or just simply Google it. Oh, I'm sorry, rto.gov.bc.ca, rto.gov.bc.ca. So anyways, the first thing I want to say is tenants are entitled to the quiet enjoyment of their own home. Unfortunately, there are cases where tenants perhaps moved into a property thinking they would be there for a number of years without being disturbed. Of course, they enjoy the home, they keep good care of it, and then the seller has the idea that they want to sell and throws everything out of whack. We appreciate and understand this. Now, the rights that a tenant have, other than that quiet enjoyment, is they are entitled to 24 hours notice whenever a showing is to transpire. So in other words, an owner and their agent cannot expect to have access to a property on short notice or anything outside of the 24-hour notice period. There are provisions here in the residential tenancy branch that say that 24 hours notice, the tenant must receive 24-hour notice not more than 30 days before the time of entry. Obviously, the notice period or the appointment has to do with showing real estate and getting people through the home. As a tenant, when you think about it, it's really no different than had you given notice. The owner, of course, has the right to show new tenants the property. Just that in this particular case, it would be showing potential owners, potential new owners. The notice can be hand-delivered by the seller or their agent. It can be posted on the door, and this is key. So a notice to enter may be posted on the door, providing 24 hours written notice. It does have to be posted 3 days before that 24 hours. I know it sounds very complicated, but again, you'll find it on the RTO website here. And the notice periods that are appropriate are from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. I guess I want to talk about a couple of options as far as showings. The first one is, as I just mentioned, getting 24-hour notice in advance. And that is any day of the week, by the way, any day of the week. It can get worse than that. And for instance, the postings that I just mentioned, having it posted on the door, when you think about it as a tenant, from a tenant standpoint, it's not exactly nice to wake up in the morning and find a notice posted on your door saying there's going to be a showing in 4 days. And you don't have a choice. Now that's one of the problems. That's not a great way to have a relationship between the other agent and the seller. The last way, and the way that we prescribe, and it's one of those best of both worlds, a win-win solution for everyone, is this. To have the agent and the seller and the tenant agree to book specific showing times during the week. For example, we have one right now where the tenants have agreed to Wednesdays and Fridays between the hours of 1 to 3, and Saturday between the hours of 2 to 4. It's not difficult for us as agents to let prospective buyers and their agents know that showings have to be within those particular showing times. And again, we have pledged to give at least that 24 hours notice in advance. It just means that the tenants' lives are not completely uprooted. It's still inconvenient, but it's far less inconvenient than having 24-hour posted notice anytime, any day of the week. That's just not great. Anyways, the last thing I want to mention is the landlord has rights too. The landlord owns the property, is responsible for the property, and has the ability to sell the property at any time. And that is one of the things that when everything sort of comes together, tenants' rights, landlord's rights, we as realtors are simply the mediators. So we're the conduits in between there, trying to make the best of what can be a difficult situation every once in a while. Anyways, once again, have a look at the website. It's www.rto.gov.bc.ca. If you have any further questions, or if you are a property owner or investor and you've liked what you've just heard and you'd like to chat with us a little bit more about making it easy on you and your tenants as far as making sure you get the top dollar on the sale of your property, please give me a call or email. I look forward to seeing you again. And also, be sure to have a look at some of the other segments that we have recorded here for you on our channel.